December 20, 10:15 a.m. This record, courtroom number 5. Court is now in session. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something?
Objection!
Oh, Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. Oh yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, the first courtroom exploded. And then Mr. Tony self-destructed. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tony. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tony's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I take it you would like me to give the opening statement this time? Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. But he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. Wanna look up something real quick? Oh my god, I have so many fucking shit open. Is attorney dual Destinies this case for the first time? Yes, case for is the first time they face. Yeah, this game is all over the place. Let's see, in the previous part of this trial we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor, of the Space Center, and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how would the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. The Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. Can we truly trust their statements? Let's see, the two people were Detective Candice Orme and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think one of them might have given false statement to the police? And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Orme, the courtroom bombing incident occurred and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow, he killed my witness. He killed Detective Orme. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly, in other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. Service prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
To make such reckless claims in the courtroom takes a bold man or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dodgy already? Odd man?
Objection!
Well, we'll see who's the daughter after I drowns you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a fur person? I see, my sister has been running her mouth. That's right, I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of the first people on the scene. One of the first people on the Director Cosmos. Very well, bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Why is he still on the scooter? Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have, for I am Yuri Cosmos. Director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Jaxa. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging. 7 years ago I successfully launched the Het-1 and... Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my epochal testimony that will be recorded in the annals of its... The annals? What the... The speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now, it sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it's said right over the director's head. Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. I love this Cosmos guy. What I saw at the scene. Detective Arme and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. I see. So in your testimony you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. And just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity, but what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my man, I went personally into the epicenter of danger, risking my own life for theirs. Laughing. Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm going to have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. Okay, thanks for the advice, Phoenix Wright.
Hold it!
Where were you coming from? The 6th floor. We were making sure any stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. And then, it was then we heard about Starbuck and Terran and hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. On my galactic scooter here, of course. Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space? Of course, it's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships. I see, then I take it works in 0G2? Sadly no, with the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless. Well, that's Galactic Bomber. I see. So you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick. And when you got to the scene, what did you see? We went via the control room and peeked from there to see what's going on inside.
Hold it!
Let's see. According to this diagram, you don't have to go through the control room to get to the boarding lounge one. It looks like you could have gone there from the southern corridor as well. Yes, but in her haste, Detective Armor rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind her. I see. So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door and... we saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. Wasn't it pitch black? What the fuck? So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly or what they were doing? Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person standing motionless. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? I'm so close, but without evidence I can't prove that person's the third party. I don't relish in this, and I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Or Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge. But she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So, for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck, isn't that correct? I would like to believe that Starbuck isn't the type of man who is capable of murder.
Objection!
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct? Great Space Center Director. Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished. You mean they disappeared? That's odd.
Objection!
The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness.
Hold it!
Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off of the scene? Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
What things are possible, Wright, don't know. The real question is, do you have any proof? Oh, well. If we are just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we would like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and a lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we have done to it. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. And he's right, I don't have any proof yet, still. The southern door was a possible escape route. I would better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes. Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arma saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. What? You're saying Detective Arma raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer. I don't know about that. And you were able to prevent Detective Arma from firing her gun? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. This information about Detective Arma's action sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony. Two warning shots. Detective Arma fired 2 warning shots at the figure.
Hold it!
And neither of these 2 shots hit the culprit? That is correct. The detective appears to have missed on purpose. But did she really? There's something about this that bothers me. So Detective Arma fired 2 warning shots, did she? That's the first time that info has come out. Wonder if I can find any inconsistencies? Yes, I can. Okay, let's look at the evidence. Yeah, a single bullet hole was found in the boarding lounge. The bullet itself is missing. It's covered in the gutter that runs along the south wall of the boarding lounge. It was fired from a 10 caliber handgun. So yeah, there's a singular bullet hole. Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arma was doing? You doubt my words? Words that will someday be written down in history books? Somehow I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand? You said that Detective Arma fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. What? Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once, and yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arma fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirmed that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arma's gun.
Objection!
But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We have already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a 38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective's gun. Okay, but we also have a gun, or like a bullet that was fired from a 10 caliber. So who's that? Who's that from? Oxygen tank data updated. The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arma's gun. Rifling marks. They are like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? And examining the rifling marks on a bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to stop near the victim's oxygen tank. Evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction gone, all gone. So that the bullet hole was from a 38 caliber. I will better update the record. Very good, now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arma fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions? Detective Arma fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? Yes, it does. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arma fired 2 warning shots from a 38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence we found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a 3rd person. Oh. Very well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a 3rd person at the scene? And what is this metal pellet supposed to be? Just a little something of a great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gathered at the crime scene, it looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's 38 calibers. Then that means... Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Armor fired warning shots. This third person fired at Detective Armor and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, Detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Haha, it looks like you have deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. What's this now? What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know? Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a third person all along? Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give accurate testimony. What I really saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Terran on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Oh. Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? Not necessarily, it's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely as soon as Detective Arma and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one and it is you who is cut down. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it, after being discovered, could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Armor would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by the police. Nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
30. Record the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon. It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence for all that tells us he is the culprit. I did forget all about that. Look, your boldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced a third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that. Yes, well, I have a question of my own actually. That bullet that mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? It hit me. So does that mean you're a ghost? I was wondering when you would realize it, your boldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls. Prosecutor Blackfield, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your boldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again. Are you sure? Is that in that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? Ho ho ho, I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. What? That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh wow, look at that, there's one extra Yoxa star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Hold it!
We have already heard all about that part. Don't you have any new information? Well, let me see. If you have an hour or two, I could tell you all about the Het One miracle.
Hold it!
We already know all about that too. There is something related to this incident. I see. You want to know about incidents. Well then, let me tell you about the Het-One miracle. The many incidents that made me the man I am today. Yes, if you have the time, I will tell you all about the upbringing of this great man.
Hold it!
You told us all about that already as well. What we need now is your testimony. Did I really already tell you all about my upbringing? I don't recall doing so. Director Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later. If I must. Well, we peeked in through the control room door and... In the lounge we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Terran on the floor.
Hold it!
But it was so dark you couldn't see this figure's face, isn't that right? Yes, the room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Het-One launch 7 years ago, if it's about that Het-One miracle again, you can sod off and tell it to a stray mutt. Excellent idea, no reason why the animal world shouldn't hear of my greatness. And so they shall, but first your testimony. What happened next?
Hold it!
So in other words, you were fired at while you were at the control room door. That is correct. There's something not quite right about that. Director Cosmos, the bullet this person fired hit you, isn't that right? Yes, it was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet the figure fired hit me while I was in the control room. But as the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor. In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. While he was there, he was shot at by someone with a 10-caliber gun. And the bullet hit his medal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man, no wonder people think he's great. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky myself, so if he's a great man, then I'm the king of all Cosmos. So what is contradicting with what? He was in the room. That's what... Like, how the fuck do you get shot if you're in a room, right? not this one. So Mr. Wright. Yeah, I'm looking at the evidence, but we were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. How the fuck did the bullet hit you, bro, then? What the fuck? How am I supposed to prove that shit now?
Hold it! Hold it! Hold it!
What if the gun is inside this? South wall of the boarding lounge. To the east.
Objection!
I mean, that was sus to me. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. Great man like me, tell a lie? Have you heard of a such thing in all of history? My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arma were near the control room door. and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, and then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. Yeah. However, we found a 10 caliber bullet here. Oh yeah, right, the bullet, not the shell. Okay. I was confused here. Wait to come. Oh. This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection.
Don't tell me you have forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you? The bullet hit his medal. Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection.
But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there something you would like me to expound upon? You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that right? Is that not right? What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and Detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found to the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time... Yikes. His handcuffs. You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I tell the truth, just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. That's the complete opposite of all the testimonies given so far. And now you have lost your possibility that the third person was in the room. Oh, yeah, right. I have? Ha! The director and the detective were near to the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition, the corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. My third person just disappeared, like in one of Truth's magic tricks. I love being the third person. Order in the motherfucking cocksucking court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? You were covering for the defendant, isn't that right? Yes, it was all for the love of my man. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? Looks like we have come to a conclusion that the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes, the judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think! This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? No way it's Eurocosmos. There's no way it's Eurocosmos. There's no way it's Eurocosmos. There's no way it's Eurocosmos. What if the war premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Armor rushed to the scene together. But what if the premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There's only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And the first person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? Well, and just how did that person escape from the scene of the crime? I don't know. I'm somehow fishing for an answer, are we? Well, congratulations on catching the prize penalty. Please let me try again, Your Honor. Very well, but let's have no more of your fishy answers, Mr. Wright. There is only one person who could have... Well, I'm thinking of Aura Blackwell, but how was she able to do that, bro? How was she able to do that, bruh? How was she able to do that, bro? How would she How would she be able to do that? Blackwell Aura. Return to title. Out of embarrassment. Really, Yuri Cosmos, but I don't wanna believe this shit. He's not the killer, bruh. Okay, it's Yuri Cosmos then. What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door after all. But what that means... Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos. What? Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arme and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arme arrived after that and... So a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. I've been hit on the starboard side. Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir, a magnificent shot. Warning shots fired from the enemy ship, prepare to intercept. Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit on the port side, the enemy has called in reinforcements. Earth to Cosmos Control Center requesting permission to ask that you return to reality. The LARP can never end, but my ship will not go down to anything else than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
Oh, but I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person or a black vessel, this third person fired the detective armor and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Looks like you have deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you are absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you receive from the third party will be the proof we need. Proof that you were the one there in the lounge. Brace for further impact. Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. What? So confused, what? Oh, if it's from the 38 caliber, I guess. Yeah.
Take that!
The 38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos's medal. If we have that ricochet mark on the medal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a 38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person we have been looking for. The bridge is destroyed, losing altitude. All hands abandon ship. If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? That's the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? No, you've got it all wrong. What? The engines have started again? It's a miracle. I'm not going down yet. Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth. If you don't want the history books to say that the great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth. Are you giving me orders, me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? But the cosmos revolves around me. Make that a gift. Someone get me off this thing. Order in the court, and will someone please stop the witness from spinning? Phew, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the medal. It was made by a 38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No. If you got it all wrong, this is just a misunderstanding. Is it going to start piling on more lies? Looks like it. But no matter how many lies it has, I just expose them one by one. I make the big liar tell the truth. To be continued. There's gonna be another bombing, I can tell. And so easily to deduce this, there's gonna be another bombing. Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were the third person. Forgive me, I'm so sorry. So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this. Fine, I tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arme, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. Then, I went past the elevators and all the way to the boarding lounge once again. I came up behind Detective Arme and pretended to be the second on the scene. What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness. No, hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Aura Black Vessel, Miss Aura Black Vessel, was you. No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall. That is an excellent point. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. Well, it makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie is a lie, Otena. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof? Oh, I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 AM, correct? Yes, and? Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you would like, they corroborate me. The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 AM. And that you arrived at the lounge after that? Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling. As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Very well, Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. I love giving out testimonies so much. What I really witnessed, part 3. I tried to enter the lounge. The true killer inside fired the gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door and well the launch pad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. So you were shot by the killer as well and then they disappeared? Yes. Though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard the pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his medal. That was Detective Armor's bullet, remember? Right, what a mess this is turning into, so let's see. What if it was Detective Armor killing Play Terran? I'm pretty sure it was Detective Armor or Miss Blackwell. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. Then the killer disappeared and the director went to the boarding lounge. The Detective Armor caught up and fired these warning shots at him. Judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. I think it does explain it. He went back to the Director Cosmos. I was wondering if he could elaborate on when the figure disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence.
A riddle of the ages indeed, but I would rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true himself, to himself, even if those around him don't understand. Well, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, Wright, no? I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Why don't you let me up, huh? When the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord, which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That would be great, Atana. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. Fan reactors online. Microsoft certain fellow link online. I try to enter the lounge. The killer inside fired the gun at me. I hit to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door. And well, the launchpad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Why are you sad, bruh? Why was it Phoenix's voice? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launchpad door. The great Yuri Cosmos? Afraid? And what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it. Most certainly not. Director Cosmos. There's something about the launchpad door you're not telling us, isn't there? Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you have hit the nail on the head, boss. It's working, boss. One more punch and it will be a knockout, boss. There seems to be one more emotion that adds that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him. Okay, back in the Matrix it is. I take the blue pill. I love the blue pill. Wait a minute, there really isn't anything strange here. I don't know, but I think maybe we made a mistake, Mr. Wright, don't know? I think maybe you're right. Let's take another look. That being said... Them being surprised. Neither. What the fuck? Okay, my other guess is that at the end, he's not happy that this control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. It's gonna be the lack of emotion? I can't imagine what it could be. I mean, okay, he's surprised that... This again? Well, I don't think so, I already did this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launchpad door. Great, Yuri. But I already have established this shit. Oh, what the fuck? Why isn't it updated? I feel like the lack of emotion here. It's gonna be the lack of emotion? Oh, what the fuck? Why are you surprised, bro? I don't know what the fuck is going on here. I mean, I tried everything here. If you have to pinpoint a non-existent emotion, then that's stupid. Oh yeah, like why is he surprised, I guess. Yeah, the lack of emotion. You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. I did, that kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. And yet, at that time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why? What are you? I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went, isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launchpad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. And as for the southern door, I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe, or maybe not, you went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door? I highly doubt it, as you recall right after I entered the lounge. Detective Orme came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use. Just input those 2 pieces of data and... yes, that's what I wanted to see. Noise. Presto Chanjo, less Discord. Fuck Discord, guys. It looks like we're on the right track. By the way, how is there... they wanted to implement a Discord age verification, where you would have had to scan your face. Where are they with that now? Is delaying its mandatory global age verification rollout until the second half of 2026, following backlash through it remains active in regions like UK and Australia. UK became exactly like what it was depicted in 1948. 84. Sorry. 48? Yeah, 84. 1984. UK is now 1984. Literally. I mean, it's funny because people always call out China and North Korea for being the most dictatorial censorship states ever to exist, but even the Western countries continue doing insane amounts of censorship. It doesn't matter towards which you do censorship, really, because it's still censorship either way. There's like a topic that you cannot debate, cannot talk about, cannot do anything about concerning that certain debate or topic, then obviously it's censored. So what better are you, really? Because of a principle. Anyways, let's continue. Thanks, Satana, now to make sense of what we have learned. I guess I save. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launchpad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launchpad 1 door. When we put these 2 pieces together, one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here?
Take that!
The culprit went through the launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes, I mean no. Disaster to starboard, we are going to crash into an asteroid. A master tactician you are not. But the area beyond that door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? But if you have an oxygen tank, what does it matter, bre? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If you can just figure out what the director is hiding about the launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies. But the door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened the security lock, do you? That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer use this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. Which person? What are you talking about, Phoenix? How do we know that?
Take that!
That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. It looks like he does have something to hide about the launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. So you know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? No. Oh yes, by all means. There's a security camera in the boarding lounge 1. Right. The one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery will be solved. What do you think of my logic? I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we played the security footage beyond this point... Oh my, the footage got off. The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this. Be it of criminals of space aliens. And I thought it was such a good idea too. Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. Grandpa boldness. Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild? I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside of the issue of the grandchildren, I would like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? If I must. Oh no, this continues. I hit to avoid the getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. But that's when Detective Armor appeared from the elevator side door. And then the detective shot at me. So you see, the killer could have only escaped to the launch pad, right? That's when Detective Armor appeared from the elevator side door. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. Why are you sad, Ray? When we view your emotions alongside the testimony. G Fuel is such... I don't know, it's trash and good at the same time. Because it's really easy to cook up drink. It's not horrendous drink. It doesn't taste that horrible. But I just know it's like not fucking healthy. And whenever you type in G Fuel, Google just refuses to fucking actually give you the results. It gives you fuel, which I don't actually need.
Got it!
Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arma found you and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural? Sadly, even great men such as myself have an ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Pardon me? First, you were surprised when Detective Arma found you in the lounge. And just after that, when you were of course again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprised reaction is the fact that you were... Yeah, surprised twice, because isn't the warning shot? Yeah. You were surprised when the detective found you a self-styled great man, and then you were surprised again when she fired warning shots at you. Would such a self-professed great man such as yourself be surprised by such things? It is my duty to lead the human race into the future. If my life is put in danger, it is also my duty to be surprised and take precautions to save my life. If anything were to happen to me, what would become of the future of mankind? Well, he certainly has a high opinion of himself. It looks like I got it wrong. In any case... Most surprised when Arma came. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arma shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide Under Your Desk. Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. Nope. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door. And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around the door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see, this footage of the door between Director Cosmos, before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Oh, it's easy. Hey, look at that. That is a change. Something definitely different. Director Cosmos. What is it? What have you two been up to over there? Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arma found you, that's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Don't be ridiculous, if you really do have an answer, you would have pointed out already. Just asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. This is so easy, boys. This is so easy. He fucking used that thing over there.
Take that!
The answer is this knob. That's... Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Take a look at the knob next to the launchpad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. And what does that mean? It means that some time before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos, let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door? Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully disassembled, it's moved to the launch site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what the knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the launch pad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch site. I don't think so. The launch pad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then, where did the killer escape to? I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail. Fine, but listen carefully, for I am about to give a history-making history. A testimony, sorry. Hey, this isn't a testimony, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. Why are you happy? Already pointing this out. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet when you did it, you felt some joy as you were very pleased with yourself. How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there? Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of the analytical psychology. So care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we have discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. How do you know about that too? Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing. But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never ever tell you, so there. I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you sir take the cake. What do Redditors say? You sir are hilarious. Here's your upvote. I don't know this. But I know it is involved with sir. You sir made the internet today. Or I don't know. How could you doubt a man with such a great intensity, intelligence and integrity?
Silence.
You, a man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You have spouted nothing but falsities since you stepped up to the stand. You are not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest bare-faced liar an honor. Liar? His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions. My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. But here's a thought for you, immediately following the bombing. Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on scene. Liar? So that means the director didn't move the launchpad? Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content. Liar?
Objection!
But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned it knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped though. You're sure it must have been somewhere? We just might find out? Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not the man enough to, boy? Talk about hitting below the bat. Youngins these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. But the knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. We turned it but it didn't move. It's that easy. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then, after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. What was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you, however. A great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge when our Astro Wanderers made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for prosperity on Filmless Film. Yeah, I was gonna say. So, to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. We know the launchpad must have been moved, but our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched even for me. I never actually boarded the rocket? Hey, wait a minute. Maybe just, maybe. Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad Orion, but instead went into another place? What if when the director moved the launch pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull or I cut you. Existential bull? Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once. I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. But well, Your Honor, let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving the launchpad 1 was to trap the true killer. Oh my. But I gotta say, to fetch it to another place to hide it. Because he wanted to trap the true killer. Okay, that didn't work. Return to title. Yes, 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 yes. I love returning to the title. Love it. I realized, by the way, why it stops the time. I guess this has a built-in clock as well. So when I auto-tab, it does the same shit that it does on Dreamcast. To switch it with another place. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? What could he possibly have switched the launchpad with? Oh, you would be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what he switched with the launchpad 1. The museum?
Take that!
Launchpad 1 was switched with Space Museum? In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site. Meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean. They came out from Launchpad. They came out from the Space Museum. The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Order dash. And yet it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and Space Museum have already switched places. That's right. And with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from boarding lounge 2. And set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from boarding lounge 2. Welcome, welcome. Anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system to that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted the bomb. After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into the boarding lounge 1 and waited there, concealed. In order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director also a suspicious figure. Who, we can suppose after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. Oh my goodness gracious. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Right, I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Swordsmaster Bluff. I'm seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor.
Silence.
But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That's right, you have no proof I switched the launch pads. Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. The launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and Space Museum were switched with each other. I mean, it literally says 2 behind them. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see, there is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage? Huh? That number on the floor. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have a proof after all, Mr. Prosecutor Blackwell. And this is just another bluff? Oh, don't worry, it's alright here. Right in this footage. Prove that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then, answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum? That's a 2. There's a 1 on the floor on the Launchpad 1 corridor. There's a clanker there too. I'm not gonna mention the clanker, but take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like 1, does it? That's because, you see, it's actually part of a 2. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. Yeah, that's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1, the side opposite the Space Museum. And now that we know the two astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran carrying Mr. Starbuck Simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level. Just incredible, the two launch pads were actually switched. But you would think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude. Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Bye bye, XD. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine ignition. What? It's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory. No, not that way. Bailiff, on your steed, and after that witness. On your horse. But they even repaired the door behind him. I see you managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? Yes. I admit it, it's true. I switched launch pad 1 for the Space Museum. It is good to hear words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, two things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I would like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the two launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not, bailiff. Help the director retrieve his stars. Okay, now I'm a person again. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it? What don't you get? Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us. Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the space center. Director, will I ever get the chance to go into space again? The girl on the right is the killer. Because we haven't met her. Yes, of course, I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. Then the dream is still alive.
Silence.
You are not going into space, Starbuck, but prison. I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the launch pads really were switched. And if there were a fair person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see the proof of this fair person's escape at the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point. He's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. Me? Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. If I'm going to die, I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Now, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. That annoying, cheerful laugh. It can be none other than... Champion of Righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here. In justice we trusty. Detective Fulbright? Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell ya, justice sure is a full-time job. Was it a fight between cats, or... Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright? I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope, but it looks like you have succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence? Came to think of it, you did say something about finding us some evidence. I didn't think he was serious though. So what is it, detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? It is indeed. Have a look at this. What is this, a lighter? That's right, a lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has a victim, Clay Terron's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it. What? So who's the killer? Order, order. Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet, Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent. This is it. This is just what I needed. Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall what the lighter, where this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terron, they escaped with the lighter in hand into the Space Museum, where they dropped it. Switching of the two launch pads occurred. Finally the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in the boarding lounge 1 after the murder. Fact that Director Cosmos has testified to, therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence.
Oh, but the defendant had free reign of the Oreo until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during the span of time?
Objection!
You would like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testifies that right after he saw the mysterious figure with the lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had the time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found in this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume that it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You have been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence.
Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Given the body of the evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime, a few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant Solomon Starbuck. So who's the killer? Hello? We're not gonna establish this. Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me too. You all are the best. Well, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too, but that's going to have to wait. Now that the verdict has been reached, I would like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned. Really? But who's the killer? Hello? Hello?
Objection.
Yes, objection. Like what the fuck? It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fulbright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? The results? Oh, well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was that cat fight, and well... I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbuck's, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes. So says the report. What? Me? Order, I say, order. Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this? We just finished proving that this lighter could only belong to the killer, so finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not a culprit. This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty, so how could it have led to this? What have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Order. Detective Fulbright, stop your crying. What in the world is happening here? It's like the two words gone mad. Order. I will have order. Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of the twisted darkness. A new episode has been updated or added. Save game? Well, this was a good case. This was a good case. This was a good case. Turnabout for tomorrow. But yeah, it's gonna be a turnabout for tomorrow because I'm gonna stop here. No one can escape their past. Oh, okay. I think I know what device she had. The fingerprints on her on the lighter. The sins we have committed and the sadness we have caused. No matter how far we run, our past remains as ever present as the moon in the sky. Looms in wait for the day when we are forced to face it. But only in doing so we can truly make peace and move on in hope towards tomorrow. December 20, 1:23 p.m. Wright Anything Agency. They took Athena from the courtroom, straight to the station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. After this past year, I took it for granted that those two would always be here. But now Apollo has gone off on his own to seek his own truth. And my pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be. It's even quieter in here than usual. Yeah, it seems so empty too. I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid. Yeah, and I still believe it was, at least based on what we know. But now Athena is the one who's being accused. During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center, the lighter used by the real culprit was found. And the lighter proved the defendant Solomon Starbuck innocent. But Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder. But Athena couldn't have done it, it just doesn't make any sense. No, none of it does. I've been racking my brain, but I can't figure it out. Where is the flaw in my reasoning? What have I got wrong in this case? You know, Daddy, if Athena was here, she wouldn't have just been sitting around thinking, she would be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy? Of course I will. And thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. Truce is right. The trial is tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm going to prove Athena's innocence, I would better get out there and find some evidence. Off we go then. We are on a hunt for evidence that will prove Athena's innocence. Great, but before we go, I better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. No unnecessary evidence left at the office. Athena's probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Truce is right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the Space Center. Okay, guys. Awesome. 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 Just awesome. See you guys next time.